When it comes to a country like Turkey, it becomes even more crucial. It is located in a geography affected by active, frozen, and potential conflicts. This is why Turkey puts the spotlight on mediation. Now, who better to tell us about this priority than His Excellency Turkish Foreign Minister Mr. Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, who brought together the foreign ministers of Ukraine and Ukraine and Russia just a few hours ago. So please make it to the stage. Thank you.
Before I start, I do apologize for delaying this meeting, and you know the reason. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you all to the 8th edition of Istanbul Mediation Conference. And I want to thank my brothers, Minister Riyad Malki and Minister Sheikh Ahmed, for their participation. And I would like to also thank every single participant here, including mainly students, our friends, and also all friends, colleagues, Miroslav Lajcak and Can Kubic. Let me also thank Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Helga Schmidt for their video messages. Over the last 10 years, the Istanbul Mediation Conference has become a traditional platform to discuss mediation efforts with the high-level participants and experts and practitioners. And my brother Sheikh Ahmed is one of the practitioners and expert, and he explained how he did it. This year, we are organizing our conference in Antalya just before the Antalya Diplomacy Forum. The reason for this is to establish a synergy between these two major events. The theme of this year's Antalya Diplomacy Forum is Recoding Diplomacy. Diplomacy is the art of restraining power and ability to find peaceful solutions. Achieving lasting peace and stability does not mean the absence of conflict. Instead, it means developing ways to cope with conflict. The best way to do this is through mediation and reconciliation. With this understanding, we hosted the foreign ministers of Russia and Ukraine this morning, and you also follow the press statements. And over the 3 days, we will discuss how we can recode diplomacy and to adapt it to the new challenges. Dear friends, distinguished participants, change is the main constant in the international politics. What we need to do is recognize and adapt ourselves to change. The post-Cold War era is already over. We now have a multipolar world. And the Russian attack on Ukraine will change the things, actually many things, not only in Europe but in the world. Conflicts have already been on the rise across the world. Around 2 billion people are living in conflict zones. Conflicts are also getting more and more complicated. Unfortunately, the international system cannot adapt to changing security and environment and new challenges. And we are all seeing this once again with the armed conflict in Ukraine. I am neither an optimist nor a pessimist. I am a realist. We need to have an analysis of the picture and real picture before starting the treatment. Dear friends, conflicts cause humanitarian tragedy, harm international stability, and increase distrust against the international system. Time and again, a so-called frozen conflict has exploded and brought misery and death. I say so-called because we believe that. I used to use this terminology as well. and I'm convinced that there is no frozen conflicts. It can be erupted anytime. There are conflicts, actually, the solutions are frozen. That's why I said so-called not to challenge you. So in this frozen conflicts and then the solutions, actually, that what we see that these frozen conflicts and the current conflicts, so-called frozen conflicts, exploded and brought misery and death in many conflicting areas. Then we must all ask, are we really living in an age of unpeace? Will the rule of power prevail over the rule of law and the global norms? We can do much better than this, better than pretending to manage the crisis or trying to contain the consequences. We cannot and must not let the role of diplomacy merely be reduced to firefighting. And we are not successful in that either. And we need to update and make full use of our toolkits. Early warning, conflict prevention, resolution and mediation must definitely have their places in it. Because the cost of war is always greater than the price of peace. Because war has no winners and peace no losers. It was with this understanding that we announced the Mediation for Peace initiative at the United Nations back in 2010 and established the Group of Friends of Mediation. We are proud to be the founder and the only country co-chairing Friends of Groups at the United Nations, OSCE, and the OIC at the same time. I just suggested my brother Sheikh Ahmed that Kuwait also join us at the OIC, because Kuwait is actually the key actor in mediation. So all these initiatives pave the normative ground with 4 UN General Assembly and 3 OIC Council of Ministers resolutions. Later this month in Islamabad, under our lead, the OIC foreign ministers will adopt another resolution to further strengthen the OIC's capacity in this field. Similarly, discussions at the Istanbul Mediation Conference have contributed greatly to the development of the conceptual framework in this area. Distinguished participants, experts, practitioners, friends, today here in our 8th gathering, we are discussing ways and means for putting mediation high on the agenda. My brothers and colleagues from Kuwait and Palestine share their insights on peace mediation. And we heard the video messages by the Secretary General Guterres and Schmidt. Later, in the master stage, a distinguished group of mediation practitioners will provide us with their views. The key to successful mediation is inclusion. We will also have a special panel to discuss the essential role of women and youth in securing and maintaining peace. We are pleased to bring together the key stakeholders, political leaders, academics, think tanks, students, and diplomats from all around the world. Your discussions will help us build a more peaceful, stable, and prosperous world. Joining our forces, I am sure we will prevail the recording diplomacy, because the future will be created by what we do today. Welcome again to my hometown, Antalya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for these valuable words.